When Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office as the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria a few months ago, he sacked almost the whole chief of staff. Come to talk about General Rabo of the Army, talk about the Air Force, the Navy, to mention but few. But he did not sack the DSS. And at this moment, a lot of people have assumed that DSS is the attacking dog of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he uses DSS to witch hunt his political opponent. Following what transpired at the Federal High Court Lagos yesterday, a lot of people have been saying that DSS has been disobeying court order consistently because they are being backed by APC government. And this will bring anarchy into the society because people will no longer tolerate it as time goes on. For this reason, a guest in the Rise Television has explained the details of what truly transpired that people called the national disgrace.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, I think the thing speaks for itself, as Ayo has already pointed out. The NBA president, Ekiao ON, SAN, has already also issued a statement saying that what happened at the Federal High Court yesterday with agencies of the federal government engaging in combat is a recipe for anarchy and chaos, and that the NBA is committed to the rule of law. Ordinary people have also said the same thing, that what happened yesterday was shameful, reprehensible, condemnable, unacceptable, that officers of the state would desecrate the premises of the court and disobey flagrantly the order of court. And the DSS, which is an institution created by law, will be quoting a magistrate court as superior to a federal high court. I don't know whether they have lawyers in DSS. Maybe they didn't teach them in their law schools about the hierarchy of courts in the Nigerian jurisprudence. But anyway, this is my own general comment. What do you think, Kingdom Okere, and what do you think, Your Excellency, Ambassador Joe Keshi?
Thank you so much. I want to say that it's very unfortunate that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has decided to start on a very bad footing. He has decided to make lawlessness the order of the day. He has tried to entrench anarchy in his government. However, he became the president of Nigeria today. Is the man at the helm of affairs, whether by grab it, run with it, scatter it, as he told his followers. It was circulating all over social media. Grab it, steal it, run with it. However, that he eventually became the president, he has started now to entrench anarchy, and that is condemnable. The fact remains that what happened yesterday is not just a show of shame, it's just a flagrant display of not only ignorance to the rule of law, but overzealousness of the Director General of the DSS. We challenge him, Bichi, if he thinks that he is above the law, if he thinks that he is above the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, let him set up a court, Bichi Court, in the DSS headquarters in Abuja, or DSS Bichi Court, and try Emefiele there. That is when we now know that DSS is above the Constitution of Nigeria. But so long as we, lawyers in defense of democracy, knows that there is a Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, that established the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. What Bichi did yesterday is a show of shame and should have warranted his immediate sack within 24 hours of what happened yesterday. There was no squabble between the officers of the Nigerian Correctional Service. There was no dispute. The DSS took the laws into their hands and manhandled that man, assaulted him. The man went in to pick Emefiele to proceed to the correctional service as ordered by the court. The court gave a definite order, very clear, granted him bail of 20 million naira with one shorty that has a landed property who should be a civil servant of a director level, and made an order that They should be remanded in Nigerian Correctional Service facility if they were not able to perfect the bail condition. Because, of course, you know, when the court grants bail, you have to do your filings, file your affidavit, bring documents of your landed property for the court to verify. So, if peradventure, if they were not able to complete the entire process as at yesterday, that the man Emefiele should be remanded in prison custody. And the DSS Director General from his office in Abuja gave a counter order. He does not have that power. DSS Director General, Bichi Magaji Yusuf, or whatever you are called, you don't have the power to give a counter order to an order made by a court of competent jurisdiction, Federal High Court of Nigeria. He doesn't have, not even Tinubu has that power. Tinubu doesn't have the power. Talk less of his attack dog, Bichi. Why would they still leave him in office more than 24 hours after desecrating the Temple of Justice? Look at what happened. It's a show of shame.
You cannot say that he's his attack dog. That's not.
That is probably, that is what we are alleging. That is why he must have left him in office. Having removed other service chiefs, why did he leave him there? Because he participated in the politics of old and new naira. He had sought to arrest Emefiele in December by going to file a false expert application that was refused by the Federal High Court. We've been saying it. Why hasn't he come after us to say it wasn't him that went to Federal High Court to file a false expert application? That the Honorable Chief Judge of the Federal High Court said that you cannot use this court to commence an irregular proceeding, which made his application a black market application. We've been saying it now. He hasn't come out to debunk it. Because the ruling of the Federal High Court is a public document. Anybody can go and obtain CTC of it. So, Tinubu should have removed Bichi if he didn't intend to make him his attacking dog. But it's quite unfortunate for a president that hitherto believe in rule of law, that have fought against some certain policies of the previous administration within the ambit of the rule of law. And we are watching and we'll continue to talk.
Let's go to Ambassador Keshi. Ambassador Keshi, there's a Pharaoh in town who does not know Joseph. What do you think?
Thank you and good morning once again. To start with, I'm glad to hear from you that the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association president, has spoken. But I also think that it is important that the head of the judiciary itself in this country, the Chief Justice and the legal counsel or whatever they are called, that they should make a very strong protest to the president about the DSS bringing so many so many gun-toting, officers to a court in a case that is arguably a civil case. Not only that, I also think that the Inspector General of Police should also protest and tell the president that the DSS should be advised to stay on its lane. Because when you look at the functions of the DSS, the issue of somebody, possessing gun at home without a license belongs to the police and not to the DSS. The head of the correctional center should vehemently protest and insist that the officers that manhandle its men, should be dealt with. There are rules in services for such unprofessional conduct. And when we begin to speak out, and when these agencies, the heads of these agencies, begin to tell the president that what the DSS is doing in this country, it's wrong, there might be some respite. They might become more professional than the kind of behavior you saw yesterday. And it is so unfortunate. I have said it many times on this your show. If we in this country do not know what to do, we should sit down and just watch television for a week or for 1 month. The DSS and the head of the DSS and his folks should please see how cases like this are handled in other jurisdictions, particularly outside this country. A couple of years ago, I'm trying to remember the year, a whole bunch of, chief executives were arrested for one thing or the other. I remember in particular the guy who spent $600 million, to redo his toilet or bedroom and things like that. The FBI came to each and everyone's house, politely The fact they sent them a letter the day they'll be taken to court. And it was interesting seeing these guys come out seeing these guys come out, the FBI waiting in their doors. These guys were dressed in their suits, were taken to court, they were granted bail, and they went back home. Emefiele has not been charged with any crime that we know of, beyond the fact that he had a gun with no license. That's a police affair. People say, oh, he committed so much when he was in office. Fine, those are administrative. People make mistakes in office. Even this new government, has it not flip-flopped, who is going to try it? The same DSS told us a couple of months and years ago, they've not been able to produce one sponsor of Boko Haram. And this is why I said this is a question of justice. It's a question of fairness. It's a question of, equity. And we must tell the DSS in very clear terms, stay in your lane. Take care of the security of this country. Other little issues that are for the police or for the correctional centers, for goodness sake, leave it to other agencies to deal with. And not try to intimidate Nigerians, because this is also an intimidation of Nigerians. To tell people, look, what happened yesterday? Look at the way they were scattered with guns. Some were even threatening to shoot. In a law court, bringing so much men armed to a law court. And this is why the Chief Justice, I believe, must speak out and say this is the last time we ever see people come, particularly who are you trying? A governor of the central bank? What exactly has he done? You've not charged him for sabotage. You've not charged him for terrorism. And you brought so many armed men to a court of law, to the premises of a court. Come on, we need to get government to stop the DSS from this show of shame that happened yesterday. And all those responsible must be well. Yeah, the gentleman said, why is the man still there? Because these were the same thing he's been doing the last couple of years. So it's left to the president if he wants to change, but that's not the issue. It's about justice, it's about professionalism, it's about fairness, it's about equity in the administration of justice as well.
All right, thank you very much, Ambassador Joe Keshi. Now, on the 13th of July, 2023, the DSS, in a statement signed by its public relations officer, Mr. Peter Afunai, had said in closing that the service assures the public of professionalism, justice, and fairness in handling this matter, referring to the matter with regards to Mr. Godwin Emefiele, and indeed the discharge of his duties within the confines of the law. However, the NBA president, in the statement released today, does not agree with the DSS in terms of how they've handled this matter. In fact, they've said that erring officers ought to be immediately have to face disciplinary actions. They recommended that there's an urgent need for a complete overhaul of the institutions and a total reorientation of the personnel. How would you assess the conduct of the DSS, not just in this matter? And then some people have called for perhaps a suspension or sacking of the head of the DSS, Mr. Yusuf Bichi. Do you agree with this? Are you in alignment with that suggestion? And then for Mr. Okere, again, just to highlight that, yes, lawyers like yourself must be aggrieved, but it's important to also be able to separate the fact that the DSS cannot be called the president's attack dog. It's very important to clear that. And also to ask you, what next? The NBA has released a statement. Are you satisfied with the content of that statement? And what are lawyers, and as Mr. Ambassador Joe Keshi has said, with the judiciary's position, or what steps would they take going forward? I'll start with Ambassador Joe Keshi, please.
Ayo, you see, Bichi was appointed by Buhari about 8 years ago. He has served his term and should be, gracefully retired. Let him go and rest. And beyond that, bear in mind that this is not the first time we will see this show of shame. Bear in mind that this is not the first time the DSS would like to show off and behave like, with all due respect, and behave like, some gangsters. Look at the way they were behaving in court yesterday. It's not just something like a movie. It's like as if they were, it's a movie in which you have some drug lords, guiding their masters and things like that. So I think, look, the statement, go and read. I will advise people, go and read the responsibilities of the DSS. And so the president of the NBA was right in what he said in his statement, that the people should be disciplined, but not just being disciplined. Look, you cannot change an organization when the leadership has been consistently doing the same thing. This is not the first time. Let's try to remember that they have been so unprofessional. There was nothing professional about the DSS yesterday. But let's go back to the basics. In the first place, the question we should ask ourselves, why so many armed men in the court yesterday? Who did they bring to court yesterday? They brought the former governor of the central bank. And the charge, what was the charge? That he had a gun at home without permission. That is the responsibility of the Nigerian police, not the DSS. The DSS essentially is for national security, sabotage, terrorism, and the rest of it. I do not know how they've functioned in the last couple of years, but if we want to be fair to ourselves in this country, we could actually say that they've performed, virtually because of so many things that have happened in this country. Not to talk of the Boko Haram, not to talk of the insecurity, not to talk of this correctional center that was invaded by Boko Haram. Where were they, for goodness sake? But you come out to show power when it comes to a civilian who has committed no offense. Emefiele has no army, he has no troops that will invade the law court. Why, for goodness sake, did you bring so many policemen to court? And look, that's not only the issue for me. It has become a pattern in this country for the security agencies, including the police and the military, by the way, to leave their normal function and crowd their bosses and everybody. Take a look at an entourage of even a governor, a president, the president of the Senate, the speaker, and the rest. See, when they are walking, you see soldiers, policemen crowding these fellows. In a country that is so peaceful like Nigeria, police display this sort of force. For what? Because they want to just service to their bosses.
All right.
This is a serious country, for goodness sake.
Yes, sir.
And so they should stop displaying this show of shame. But as I said, for goodness sake, let the DSS stay in its lane and focus on national security. The issue of gun without permission is a police responsibility. Right. If Emefiele made mistakes when he was there, it should be issued query by his boss, not by the DSS. All
right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Joe Keshi. Mr. Okere.
Yes. On my own part, I would say it reminds me of the ugly invasion of the home of serving justice of the Supreme Court by this same DSS under the leadership of Bichi Mogaji. And of course, this man's appointment by President Buhari is also controversial. He had retired and Buhari brought him back. And I have sound information from that agency that the officers, serving officers, high-ranking officers in that organization, and are not happy that Bichi is still their director general because he has served and retired and blocking them from also getting to the peak of their career. That is an authentic information. But the issue remains that with what happened yesterday, I would want the Nigerian judiciary, particularly the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, to immediately issue an order directing all federal high courts in Nigeria to boycott all cases that are filed by the Department of State Services, or all cases bearing the name of Attorney General, all prosecution from the state, because it's the state that prosecutes every criminal offense. If Bichi Mogaji did not tender unreserved apology to the judge of the Federal High Court that made an order, the order was displayed yesterday in the media. It was zoomed.
About
very clear.
If you've read the comments by the NBA president, if you're
satisfied with the comment of the NBA president is accurate. It's in order. I support it. We support it as an organization of lawyers within the NBA umbrella. And I'm now further making a call that the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court should boycott all state prosecution cases. Every criminal prosecution, if the Director General of DSS did not tender apology immediately to the judge of the Federal High Court that made an order directing that Emefiele should be reminded in the facility of the Nigerian Correctional Service, or if he didn't perfect his bail application. If Yusuf Magaji did not personally, not the spokesperson of DSS, Yusuf Magaji should personally, under the watchful eye of the media, tender unreserved apology to that judge of the Federal High Court. If he didn't do it, the chief judge of the Federal High Court should boycott all cases. They can't make a court. They won't ridicule the entire institution of the judiciary.
Okay, so in going forward now, what would you advise the counsel of Emefiele in all of this to do? He's gotten a bail by court already, and at the same time, he's been rearrested by DSS. DSS claim they've got this from the magistrate court to be able to arrest him again. Is it that the bail obviously will not be effected? Because the bail was not effected yesterday, because by now he should be perfecting his bail, being in a correctional center, but the bail will not be effected because it's already in DSS custody. We don't know how long they're going to hold him for ACJA. Are they going to bring new charges against him? So what should the council be doing now? And to you, sir, where will Nigeria go from here? I'm talking to you about Dr. Okechi, as regards the international perception, how the world sees us. We had foreign press everywhere in court yesterday. They covered it.
Even the BBC was there.
And they told the story. And in fact, I've seen this on the website. What does this do for an image where we call ourselves a democracy, but we've shown ourselves in a very shameful, abhorrent way to the world? What does that do for our international image? Can we recover from this? But let me allow our legal practitioner start from here first.
Well, the question you asked me was on the issue of what the lawyer should do.
Yes.
The lead counsel is a very senior lawyer, former NBA president.
By the way, I thought I saw you.
Yes, I was there. Yes, I was there.
With this cap.
That was when we came out of the courtroom.
You put your cap on.
Yes, I was properly robed. Oh. We appeared in the matter.
Because I was wondering.
No, that wasn't. Everything you saw was outside. Oh. And of course, cameras were not allowed during the sitting. Oh. So we were properly robed in the court. It was when we came out. Can't be wearing
you carry your cap and put it on.
What happened, sir, yesterday was that the lead counsel is a very senior lawyer. By now, I believe they must have proceeded to ensure that the bail condition is perfected. Once that is done, we should file an application to commit the DSS Director General to prison for disobeying, for contempt of court. Of course, because it's contempt within the court. What happened yesterday? They had over 100 armed policemen and DSS men, not policemen. Over 100 of them, and they cocked their gun, threatening to shoot journalists. Your men were there. Journalists ran helter-skelter, and people were videoing with their phone. Journalists had to run to the gate and zoom their camera to be able to capture the sordid event that was happening yesterday at the Federal Court. They threatened to shoot. It was me that was now shouting behind the. If you see you hear a voice saying they want to kill Emefiele, I was the one shouting they want to kill Emefiele. I now came out again.
So the solution is charge DSS for contempt.
The Director General, not DSS, is an institution. It is the Director General is the one flouting the court order. Okay. He's the one telling his men to remain there. He's the one that gave the last order that Emefiele must go back to their custody. Okay. So he should be charged for contempt and be taken to the same correctional service that he refused Emefiele to go to, because it's not above the law. Bichi, you are not above the law.
Okay.
It's not above the law.
Ambassador Jokeshi.
That's up to the lawyers.
Ambassador Jokeshi.
To pursue that. Okay.
Ambassador Jokeshi.
Yes. Thank you, Rufai. I'm even surprised to hear that a magistrate, granted permission to the DFS while a senior court was handling that matter. I'm even surprised to hear that. I guess the lawyers can handle that. And to your question to me, Rufai, a couple of years ago, I had cause to tell a governor of a state that came to us in Atlanta, we had spent months handling, making an arrangement for his visit, and then he came. He wanted us to start cancelling a number of things. And I said to him, Your Excellency, I wish to bring to your attention that it's not only the activities of drug barons and people, immigrants and so on, that creates image problem for Nigeria. Official irresponsibility. It's also a contributing factor to the bad image of Nigeria. And I want to repeat the same thing here. The behavior of DSS yesterday is so unfortunate Because these same people, the ESS, and in fact, they're not just the DSS, the whole security folks, they should realize that we have, even we diplomats, we are very aware of the fact that today, you know, by the time I was set to enter the service, it was then said that a diplomat is someone sent abroad to go and lie for its country. It is no longer possible. You cannot lie for your country anymore because of global television. And no matter what DSS says today, the whole world has seen that show of shame. They have seen the unprofessional behavior of the DSS. And that's what's going to go around the world about the Nigerian, you know, Department of State Security Services.
All right,
and
sir.
so they need to be very careful. The security forces needs to be very careful. In fact, everybody needs to be careful when they are dealing with the issues of state, because these things goes all over the world and create image problem for the country. We should restrain ourselves. We should discipline ourselves. We should be professional when we do certain things in this country.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. But just before we go, just very briefly, Kingdom Okere, this is your cap. This reminds me of Mobutu Sese Seko. Is Mobutu Sese Seko your hero? He's a Mobutu Sese Seko.
My hero is late Gani Fawemi.
But you are wearing Mobutu Sese Seko cap. No wonder you are so agitated.
Let Gani Fawemi, he did a lot in legal advocacy. He did a lot in public interest litigation. In fact, there is virtually no court in Nigeria that will sit on any matter of public interest or human rights that will not mention Gani's case. You know, so he did so much, and we'll continue to remember him, and maybe also see how we can contribute our own, you know, to the development of law. And then our living legend too, Falano and Abako Bolis Abako, they are people that are inspiring young activists.
Okay, no problem. Just to clear the air about where you are coming from, so that you don't keep seeing attack dogs, attack lions all over the place.
It's
Thank
not
you
about
very
being
much.
attack lions. It's about we believing in rule of law. Like the ambassador said, you don't see the absurdity in a magistrate granting a warrant of arrest when a court of competent jurisdiction, federal high court for that sake, not even a state high court, have sat on a matter, arraigned the defendant, made an order, grant bail application, have even when the state extensively argued against the bail application. All the factors that are in section 162 of the ACJA we have factored in. Would Emefiele evade taking his case if granted arrest? The court didn't say Emefiele being a flight risk. Then would he influence the witnesses?
All right.
Thank
you so much, Mr. Okere. We are out of time. Thank you very much. A big thanks to Ambassador Joe Keshi for your time, and of course, Mr. Kingdom Okere here with us.